What's up, party people? This is the BirthFit podcast, and I'm Dr. Lindsey Matthews Cantu. I am your BirthFit founder and CEO. And this is the BirthFit podcast, episode number 275. And we're talking about the Webster Technique. I wanted to get on here and talk about this because recently I made an Instagram post, a social media post. And it was something along the lines, it was in the last, let's say, 3 months. So if you want to go back and dig around, you can find it. But it was along the lines of your Webster certification is not enough. When you're working with prenatal, postpartum, let's say preconception clients as a chiropractor. I'm a chiropractor. For those of you that don't know, I love the chiropractic philosophy, above, down, inside out, the power that made the body heals the body. I'm staring at, I got 5 green books right over there that were gifted to me. I love my profession as a chiropractor. I love being a chiropractor. And I can absolutely say that the Webster technique is not enough alone to care and serve for pregnant and postpartum women and preconception. I'm going to throw that in there. And this is coming from somebody, myself, that has taken the Webster certification now 4 times. The first time I took it was in 2011, which was about a year after I graduated chiropractic school. And that was with the legendary Jeanne Ohm. And then fast forward 4 more years, I went back and took it again with Jeannie. And both of those times I took it in the Bay Area at Life West. And I took it in 2011, and that was around the same time that I was embarking on this pregnancy birth journey. And that was when I started having more clients that were women that were wanting to have babies. And I realized, oh my God, I did not learn enough in school, which I know all of you did not either. Um, it doesn't matter what school you went to or what doctorate program you did. I know you did not learn enough. I know that whatever you learned about prenatal and postpartum and birth and preconception is minuscule at best. And dare I say, like, it doesn't even, it's like the tip of the iceberg. But what I wanted to touch on was Webster technique is absolutely necessary. If you are a chiropractor and you've not done the Webster technique, it is a must. And this past weekend, I was in the seminar with Dr. Pamela Stone, and she's awesome. And she's who I have taken the last 2 Webster certifications from. And she's been practicing for 20 plus years. And she shares her story at the end. I'm not going to share her story, that's hers to tell. And she's equally passionate about all things perinatal as I am, as other chiropractors in this profession. And I love that. And I do think that her and the other women that are teaching the Webster technique across the globe are absolutely doing a fine job of carrying the torch that Jeannie carried. Um, for those of you that don't know, Jeanne Ohm, God, how sad. Like, I'm so sorry if you're a chiropractor and you never got the opportunity to hear her speak or be in the same room with her, because she absolutely was a gift to our profession. And I know her children are carrying on her legacy. And just like she did with me, she sparked something inside of me that I know she's done that for many, many that have attended her seminar. When I first took that very first Webster seminar, she played a song at the end about a tribe in Africa that when the mother's ready to welcome a child in. But this is before she even conceives. She basically goes off and learns that song, that rhythm for that child. And then she comes back and teaches it to her husband, partner, whatever they call him. And he learns that song. And then that song is taught to the village. And they carry on that song. And basically that song is carried with that woman, with that child, with that mother baby dyad throughout pregnancy, throughout birth, throughout postpartum. And then that song's carried with that child throughout his life. So that whenever he strays or she strays, becomes out of alignment, they can sing the song and everybody can come back in tune again. That was like the biggest takeaway from me. I was just like, how beautiful is that? For us all to know our own rhythm, our own song, and have people in our lives, have community in our lives that hold us accountable. And 2 years later, I officially started BirthFit from the first seminar. So my first seminar, Webster, was in 2011, and then I started BirthFit in 2013. So in between that time, I attended lots of births. I started working at a birth center on the east side of LA and the west side of LA. I became a doula and I started hosting classes and personal training at the gym I helped open in Venice, California called Deuce Gym. Um, and so I really got immersed in that birth culture in those 2 years. And that's where I saw the gap between fitness, movement, nervous system, all of that, wellness lifestyle, and what providers, midwives, doulas, even chiropractors and coaches were sharing or lack thereof sharing with their clients and their patients. And at the time when I started, the biggest recommendation for fitness was prenatal yoga and walking. And yes, those are like better than nothing. However, I will sit here and say you will be a fitter version of yourself, a better version of yourself, a healthier version of yourself when you train, strength and conditioning wise, minimum twice a week prior to conception, through pregnancy, and then when we rehab optimally with the BirthFit basics, and then you lay a base level of fitness with strength and conditioning, and then you go back to your sport specific. I will sit here and that's a hill I will die on. Basic general strength and conditioning is absolutely necessary. There is a base level of fitness I think that is absolutely required for birth because we don't know how long birth will be. We don't know how if it's going to be 3 hours, 6 hours, 3 days, whatever. But you will be a more optimal version of yourself, and therefore, baby will reap the benefits of your fitness. So, between my first Webster seminar, 2011, start officially launching BirthFit in 2013, and then going back for my next Webster in 2015, Dr. Jeannie and I had been in talks about BirthFit joining the ICPA as a seminar of some sort. And, just to be quite honest, she was all for it. And I love Jeannie. And I will never forget our talk that we had at Life West, sitting out on the bench. Um, and us just like vibing on our beliefs and our values and really realizing like here's somebody that's a living, like at the time, a living legend. She's had 6 births at home. I think 4 of them were unassisted. That's somebody that completely believes in the power that made the body, can heal the body, can birth their babies. And here's little old me starting my business. Haven't ever been pregnant, given birth yet. And I have those same beliefs. And wow, teary-eyed. She helped spark that in me, which is crazy, 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 crazy. Um, I'll never forget that conversation. Um, let me see. And, she ended up passing in 2019. So some life happened for me and for her. And we never quite got the ball rolling for BirthFit to be a part of the ICPA seminar schedule. And, that was quite all right. And, I think everything in life has divine timing and has a reason. Um, and I absolutely still love the ICPA. ICPA. I've, l- they've added a ton more seminars and they've got really good stuff in there. I still take ICPA seminars. Like there's zero hard feelings there. Um, but one of the conversations we had, and I think the hang up was that, she wasn't sure that BirthFit really was about that I'll call it straight chiropractic philosophy, um, because we had the rehab element in there. And after our conversation, I think she would agree that we are about that life. And, I think for me, somebody being new in business, and at the time of 2017, 2018, 2019, there was the coach seminar and the professional seminar. And I had the professional seminar. I had some teachers in there, some seminar leaders that were chiropractors that were not straight chiropractors, that practiced more of the rehab style. And, that's okay. I think that was fine. Um, but what I want you all to get, what I want you to understand by the end of this podcast is chiropractic is my wellness philosophy. And as the founder of BirthFit, it's the bones, is the foundation that BirthFit was built on. I may not say it every day, but chiropractic is what literally shaped my lens of wellness. It shaped how I show up as a mother, how I nourish my family. It's it changed my life. And I want that for everybody. I wish chiropractic would impact you like it has me. And no, you don't have to go to school to do that. You don't have to go six figures in debt to become a chiropractor. But getting adjusted weekly, and I've been adjusted weekly since I've been in chiropractic school. Might have missed a week here and there, but for the most part, been adjusted weekly. My daughter has been adjusted minimum once a week since birth, probably 2 to 3 times a week since birth. It's our first line of defense. It's our proactive way of living. It is our lifestyle medicine, chiropractic. And the reason being, the nervous system communicates to the rest of the body. And when we have a symptom, whether it be a skin rash, whether it be an ache or pain, nausea, whatever, that's our body communicating to us. And those symptoms, especially pain, like back pain, that's kind of like the breaking straw, the straw that broke the camel's back. It's like the last thing. That means that nerve supply to that space has been diminished for quite some time. So there's lots of research about chiropractic now, and if you want any, be sure to look up Heidi Havoc, Dr. Mo. They've got great research. There's a ton of research now that everybody's talking about the vagus nerve, right? That comes out. and around to innervate the head, face, and neck. And just one cervical spine adjustment, one upper cervical adjustment can increase HRV, heart rate variability, and that's going to help somebody sleep better, just automatically. And y'all have heard me talk about sleep a little bit already, but y'all, sleep is where health, growth, restoration happens. And we have to be in an optimal state of our nervous system in order to get that really quality sleep. Anyways, y'all, we're going back to Webster. So I just want to let you know that while I say something like Webster is not enough, and it's also required, it's absolutely fundamental, the foundation of you becoming a perinatal chiropractor. Then you can take the BirthFit certification. The BirthFit certification is the 7 pillar framework that pieces everything together, y'all. You don't have to do what I did and spend 13, 15 years taking a seminar over here, taking a seminar over here, taking a nutrition course, taking blah, 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 blah. It's all together in the 7 pillar framework of the BirthFit certification. And you can apply this to you can apply it to every single patient, but absolutely every woman that walks through your door that is in her preconception chapter, in her pregnancy chapter, first, second, third trimester, healing postpartum, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, whatever. The framework is there. Can be used for the first baby, the fifth baby. It's amazing. I've had women, literally, a woman just this past year have her fifth baby, a woman have her seventh baby, saying how different they feel using the BirthFit framework. So, the last thing I'll say, especially for you mamas that are listening, what the heck is Webster? It's not a breech turning technique. Absolutely not. Um, the Webster technique is a specific chiropractic analysis and then adjustment that reduces nervous system stress, balances pelvic bones, muscles, ligaments, and optimizes the mother's pelvic function in pregnancy and birth, and I would say even beyond. Um, so it's an analysis. Every chiropractor has an analysis they use um, to determine what to adjust that day. And Webster Technique is a specific analysis. It was created by Larry Webster, and then Jeanne Ohm took it, took it and ran with it after that, after he passed. And now we got 4 other women that are leading the charge for the Webster technique. And it's absolutely, like I said, minimal. Like you need to take it if you're a chiropractor. And even like Dr. Pam inside the seminar this weekend, she was like, y'all, this is not the only thing. Yes, it's great, the Webster technique, but there's also so much else to learn out there. So if you are a mom looking for a chiropractor that specializes in pregnancy, postpartum, definitely make sure they're Webster certified to start with. If you're a chiropractor and you're not Webster certified, get Webster certified and take it every 4 to 5 years because the content is updated. The content that I had this weekend was not the same content that Jeannie was teaching back in 2011. Thank God, right? And then the last bit I'll leave you with, the question that that I would get all the time with new patients is, does chiropractic care lead to a safer, easier birth? Um, and my answer is I don't want to say yes, it's guaranteed, but absolutely it can really open the door for a very straightforward, simple birth. And if you're looking at um, let's say like the Williams obstetric books, They talk about power, passage, and passenger. And when you think about that in relation to chiropractic, like the power is the power turned on, is the nerve system from the brain to the uterus, is that enhancing or decreasing function? Um, Basically, nerve system stress is reduced with chiropractic care. Proprioceptor activity is restored. Dural tension is alleviated when working with S2 sacrum stuff. Um, Sympathetic, like chronic fight or flight, is decreased. Normal muscle tone and pelvic function is restored. And that's just talking about the power. And in the Williams obstetric books, um, they define dystocia, which is basically, let me see if I can give you a good definition here, is basically stalled labor, abnormal labor. Um, we'll just leave it at that. But according to Williams Obstetrics, there's power, there's passage, and there's passenger. Abnormalities of the expulsive forces, power. Abnormalities of the maternal bony pelvis, passage. Abnormalities of presentation, position, or development of the fetus, that's the passenger. Um, so if you take those, the Webster technique, chiropractic, all of that addresses, chiropractic addresses the three P's, power, passage, passenger, which is super cool. So passage, right? Like that's the mom. We want to optimize space in the mom. Pelvic balance is optimized following chiropractic care. Passenger, mother baby dyad, normal tone is restored. Like this is the baby now has a optimal physiological environment to assume the best position. And when the power's turned on from nervous system to placenta, there's better communication, better blood flow, better energy going to that baby, that passenger. And the baby has to do their part in birth. Birth is a dance, absolutely. All right, so anyways, that's what I wanted to say. If you're a chiropractor, go take Webster. If you're a mama or a coach looking for a chiropractor that's proficient in pregnancy, start with somebody that's Webster certified. You should be able to find them at ICPA for kids. And then I would make sure they're BirthFit certified after that. Check out our BirthFit directory. All right, y'all. That's it. Hope you enjoyed that one. Let me know if you have any questions. Be sure to hit follow, follow, follow. Follow BirthFit podcast on iTunes and Spotify. And please, please leave us a review. I would greatly appreciate it. Mwah.